Hello and welcome to Threefold Herbal Healing. I'm herbalist Leo Sade. I help people who struggle with chronic conditions grow their health from the roots up. Today I wanted to speak about herbal support for the reproductive system, or more specifically about restorative herbs that support reproductive system long term. Restorative herbs nourish, increase tone, and enhance tissue function. They build health due to slow, consistent use, leading to a profound healing effect. The herbs that I'm talking about today are restoratives that are specifically indicated for the women reproductive system. So let's begin. The first herb I want to talk about is red raspberry leaf. It is the classic uterine tonic in Western traditional herbalism. And you probably saw it in every tea that is indicated for periods, heavy periods, pregnancy, premenopause, menopause. It's there all over the place. It is cooling, slightly drying, astringent, which means that it constricts tissue and keep the fluids from leaking out, and deeply nourishing to the uterine tissue. As a nutritive herb, red raspberry leaf is rich in water-soluble vitamins and minerals, which are easily assimilated by the body because the body is made out of 70% water. The herb contains high levels of minerals, including iron, selenium, magnesium, manganese, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, and zinc, as well as vitamin like vitamin A, B1, B3, C, and E. A lot of nutrients. Because the nutrients in red raspberry leaves are water soluble, tea is the preparation that is preferred. It's just easy to extract all those nutrients into the tea. It is a great way to get more essential vitamins and minerals that we often lack because of our modern diet. Red raspberry leaf is a valuable ally for women throughout all phases of their lives. It nourishes the uterus in conditions such as PMS and PMDD when women struggle with symptoms on the days leading up to their periods every month. Very unpleasant. During pregnancy, it can tone the stretching uterus and prepare the cervix for labor and delivery. Additionally, it can prevent prolapse in premenopause and menopause in women who have lost tone in the ligament and the muscles holding the uterus in place due to the wear and tear of many pregnancies. When using red raspberry leaf as a long-term tonic, you want to consider blending it with moistening lymphatic herbs such as violet or red clover to counteract the drying effect of this herb. The second herb that is very well known as a tonic for reproductive system in women and men is nettle. It is a diuretic, which means that it irritates the kidneys and thereby stimulate urination. It is also an alterative. Alteratives are herbs that alter fluid metabolism in the body and promote clearing of waste products. It's also a nutritive and an anti-inflammatory. So nettle is nutrient dense. It's rich with iron, calcium, magnesium, and protein. As such, it is indicated for tissue deficiency in those nutrients, especially in the blood and in the skeletal muscular system. It's for signs of atrophy. In atrophy, nutrients and oxygens don't reach the tissue due to poor circulation, and in those conditions, nettle can help build and strengthen the uterus by enforcing blood flow and the development of muscular tissue. Nettle can help reduce bleeding post-childbirth or during menses in women with heavy bleeding or mid-cycle spotting. It is also a stimulant for lactation. The primary energetic pattern of nettle is cooling, drying, tonic, and stimulant. It is indicated to use in damp heat pattern, but damp heat where the tissue are hot and inflamed, but also swollen with fluids. So it's hot, inflamed, and damp. It will effectively dry, drain excess moisture from tissue and cool excessive heat in conditions like endometriosis and uterine fibroids. The next herb I'm going to talk about is shatavari. It comes to us from the traditional Indian herbalism, Ayurveda. It belongs to the asparagus family, and the name shatavari translates to 100 spouses, implying its ability to increase fertility and vitality. In Ayurveda, this excellent herb is known as the queen of herbs for its ability to promote love, devotion, and in the Ayurvedic tradition, shatavari is considered the primary tonic for female reproductive system. Energetically, shatavari root is cooling, moistening, and nourishing. It contains saponin, that are like soapy, bubbly compounds, and phytoestrogens. Phytoestrogen bind to estrogen receptors in the body, and by doing so, they trigger effect that is lower than estrogen, but very similar. As an adaptogen and a female tonic, shatavari can support women who experience symptoms associated with reproductive conditions such as endometriosis or fibroids. In those cases, chronic pain creates sustained stress response. This constant stress disrupts normal reproductive hormone cascade, which create kind of a vicious cycle. You have a reproductive hormone imbalance leading to stress and pain, leading to reproductive hormone imbalance. Shatavari help restore homeostasis to those interconnected system, nervous system and reproductive system. Shatavari also contains steroidal saponin, those soapy, bubbly compounds I was talking about, and other compounds that support cellular regeneration and tissue integrity. In reproductive tissue damage or inflamed endometriosis, this deep nourishment helps rebuild healthy tissue architecture over time. So it's an herb that you will have to use consistently over time. The nourishing effect of shatavari was found to have a neuroprotective effect after menopause and to enhance musculoskeletal function in older age, counteracting the effect of declining estrogen following menopause. So for women in menopause that feel like suddenly their brain is foggy and they lost their memory, or for women in menopause that experience muscle weakness or bone loss, shatavari could help with that. In a study of women in menopause transition, shatavari was found to reduce hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, anxiety, nervousness, vaginal dryness, and loss of libido without having any adverse effects. The cooling quality helps address the underlying inflammatory heat pattern often seen in conditions such as uterine fibroid, PCOS, and endometriosis. Rather than just suppressing inflammation, it helps restore the body's natural anti-inflammatory capacity. And the last herb I'm going to talk about comes from the traditional Chinese medicine. So we are having a lot of different traditional medicine. And I'm going to talk about Don Quai or Angelica sinensis, using for centuries for women reproductive system. It has an affinity to the blood as it is built and moves blood. As a blood tonic, Angelica sinensis help women with heavy menstrual bleeding rebuild the monthly menstrual blood loss. And I would just say that women with heavy bleeding that every month lose a lot of blood tend to develop anemia. And many women live for decades sometimes with anemia without even knowing it because they lose blood on a monthly basis. Danko stimulate blood flow to the pelvic floor, providing nutrients and oxygen to the tissue and removing waste product from metabolism and inflammation. This is especially important in conditions where congestion and stagnation are typical. Again, endometriosis and fibroid. Energetically, Angelica sinensis is warming, stimulating, and moistening. It can counter the drying effect of red raspberry leaf and nettle in formula, moistening, nourishing depleted tissue. So it has this moistening effect while red raspberry leaf and nettle have this very drying effect, and then that can kind of balance each other. Some safety issue with Angelica sinensis. It helps regulate menstrual blood flow when circulation is poor. However, it should be avoided in cases of excessive bleeding when circulation is overreactive, as it can make it even worse. It stimulates blood flow. So when the circulation is poor, stimulate blood flow. When the circulation is already stimulated, you don't want to stimulate it further. The best way to use herbal tonic is in tea form. It's something that you use consistently in tea. You want to begin by decocting the Shatavari and Angelica sinensis because those are root and you need to decoct root. Decoct means basically simmering them while keeping them on low heat. Let them simmer for about 15 minutes. Then remove them from heat. Add the nettle and red raspberry, cover, and let it steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then you can strain and drink it. I use about 15 grams of blended herbs for a quarter of water. So you can basically make Shatavari and Angelica sinensis mix and red raspberry and nettle mix and use, let's say, 7.5 grams of that blend and 7.5 grams of the other blend. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I hope you will find this video very beneficial. If you have any question, don't hesitate, drop it in the comments. You can also tell me if you made a tea. How did it taste? Did you like it? How does it feel in your body? Did it help? That's it for today. See you next week. Bye.